How many years have you been coming to Tayakomi? The very first time I came was in 1987, and through the years I came back many times, and then in 2007 was the first time that we took representatives from Tayakomi and Yomiwato to visit the water project in Wakaria, and at that time the Peruvian government project, Foncodes, had just installed a water project in Tayakomi, and it was a complete disaster, complete incompetence. The water captation point was actually lower than most of the taps. Of the 14 tap stands, 12 were higher than the water captation point. And the engineers who install it knew that the water wasn't going to arrive, and so they didn't even connect the pipes. They just told the people, oh, just dig really deep down to the water pipe and the water will come up. That's why Romulo, the community president, he'd seen their work, he'd seen many other institutions come and promise to do things and do them badly or not do them at all. He didn't believe in this project at the beginning. And now what's the impact that you've seen of water in every house? I came here in 2011 and there was already water running in the tap stands. It was a miracle. It was marvelous. I just opened the tap stand and there's water. Nowhere in Peru, not in Lima, not in Cusco, nowhere in Peru do I drink the water except in 3 communities, Wakaria, Tayakomi, and Yomiwato. It's the only water I trust in the whole country. Because before that time, the only way to get water was to go down to the stream or to the river and gather the water while you're taking a bath. Sometimes the river water has lots of sediments in it, it's very dirty. In the dry season, they would go to little streams and they would dig out little holes so the streams would fill with water. And sometimes in the dry season, they'd run out of fresh water for drinking. And so the women imagine they have to wash clothes, they have to cook, they have to wash their children. And so they would come up and they would carry the water in these big heavy buckets and carry it up, and that water would sit there all day or for 2 days. And that's the water that people used over and over again. So usually before meals, the Matsigenka will wash their hands. But imagine like this, all the people washing their hands over and over again in the same dirty water, reusing it. They themselves have told me now, the main change that they've noticed is diarrhea. Diarrhea is basically gone. There's almost no diarrhea left in the community. Once in a while, someone will get some diarrhea, but for the most part, they've seen overnight the diarrhea diseases pretty much disappear. Before it wasn't like that. They said the kids were all the time. They had vomiting, diarrhea, stomach aches, and now once in a while, but it's pretty much gone. No more diarrhea in the community, almost no more. I went to the health post the other day and I asked the nurse, and how's it going? Diarrhea? No, it's all gone. There's hardly any left. And what you really notice is the children. They're clean. Their hands are clean, their faces are clean. Before, you'd never see that. Because before, the kids would be playing, they'd be in the dirt, they were always dirty. And imagine their mother would have to go how many times a day down to the river to bring more water. And so she just couldn't keep up, and the kids were always dirty. Their hands were dirty, their faces dirty. And now you see them clean all the time. And there's been all this work done with the school teachers and the health posts to teach children to wash their hands before meals, to wash their hands after eating, to wash their hands after going to the bathroom. The bathroom in Tayakomi is a very solid structure, solid and really beautifully done. And it's got lots of ventilation, there's plenty of space. If you look at other bathrooms installed, sort of latrine bathrooms installed in other communities around, you see that they're very small, they're not very well ventilated, they're hard to keep clean. This Turkish-style latrine that's used here, it's much more practical, much easier to clean. It's just a hole in the ground with 2 footprints. Whereas the sit-down toilets, they're very hard to clean. There's lots of, they're much more difficult to clean. And before, imagine you've got 50, 60 school kids going to school every day, and there's no bathroom. And so the kids would just go around in the woods and in the grass right around the school, and they'd go to the bathroom all around the school every day, 50, 60 kids. And so you just imagine what a mess it was all around the school. And now the school bathroom in Tayakomi, it's a solid structure, it's a practical structure, and it's a beautiful structure. So how would you measure the change? What % change have you seen from before and now after? It's a complete change. It's a completely different community. You see, the people live here, they still have their customs. When you compare with the Urubamba River, In the Urubamba River communities, people have electricity, they have television, they have beer, they have cantuna, there's even venereal diseases, there's no more fish, there's no more animals to hunt in the forest, and yet there's no clean water. They don't even have the basics to develop themselves, don't have clean water. And they say this is development. You see, development isn't just money. In Manu, by contrast, people have their customs, they have their houses, they have their gardens, they have plenty of fish, they have plenty of game, animals to eat, and yet people aren't living in poverty. They have clean water, they have a bathroom, they have sinks, they have health, they have their customs, they speak their language, and so they have the basis for a real development. Not what you see in other places like in the Camisea with the gas project, where they have money, but they don't have any real development. They don't have dignified development. When I ask the people there in the Camisea, how have things changed? They only talk about negative things. There's no fish, there's no animals to eat, no one drinks the traditional beverage anymore, they just drink beer. The men sometimes get drunk and beat their wives. The adolescents don't want to make gardens anymore, they just want to work for the gas company. They don't respect the elders, they don't want to speak their language, they just want to speak Spanish. And so I asked them, well, isn't there anything good with all this money, with all this development? I have to ask them specifically, isn't anything good happened? And they say, well, I mean, the young people have their money, but that's it. Here you ask people, how have things changed? And they say, oh, we've got clean water, there's no more diarrhea, there's plenty of fish. In Camisea, by contrast, they have refrigerators that they use to keep their beer chilled. So they're using all that electricity to keep beer cold for people to get drunk. It's a real pity what you see in the Camisea region. It's just a pity. It's a wasted opportunity. They have plenty of money to do whatever they want, and they just do things badly done. They do things that don't bring development, true development. The projects there don't bring benefits, true benefits. There's no capacity, there's no decision-making process. And that's the difference you see here with Nancy. The first thing she does is she comes to the community and she asks, what do you need to make your lives better within your cultural context? Let's change things that need to be changed to make life better, but don't mess up the things that are working. The environment, their customs, their culture, those are the things that we try to preserve. The development that you see in the Camisea and the lower Urubamba region is all backwards. They change everything, they lose everything, and get nothing in return. The fish is gone, the animals are gone, no one wants to make their gardens anymore. You don't see any pineapples, you don't see any papayas, nothing. You don't see any fruits, guayabas, nothing. They've traded their fish for tuna, they've traded their traditional beverage for beer. And then Romulo asks, there's no fish left? And Glenn answers, there's nothing, there's nothing. I was just there the other day, just there last week. They say it's very, very difficult, the life there. There's no fish, the fish smell bad, they have some weird chemical smell. There's no monkeys, there's no peccaries. But yeah, beer, there's plenty of beer. They have televisions, they have cell phones, and yet they don't have clean water. There are high rates of anemia and malnutrition in the children. We did a study in Chihuahua and look at infant nutrition and anemia. And of the children, almost all of them were malnourished and had anemia. Practically all the children were malnourished. The water system they have is like the old Foncode system here. They bring stream water, untreated, dirty stream water, straight to people's houses in the taps. There's no water filtration system, it's just untreated, raw stream water coming to the houses. They drink the water and they all have diarrhea. It's very, very difficult there now. It's not a good situation. Then Caleb says, well, that's a really impressive report, and we hope you have a good experience here, and that you write up a good report about what you've seen. And we thank Romulo for helping us out, and that's our plan, is to bring these services to the communities, the services they really need. Caleb speaking. So that's what we're here to do, to help bring them development, to help Romulo develop his community. And then Romulo says, thank you for your help. Thank you.